Have you ever spent days waiting or dreaming of a day to come, only to realize that it's finally arrived and it's absolutely nothing like you dreamed of? The day of Dad's funeral, I was finally free. It's hard to say. That's a hard sentence. Probably not something you would expect out of my mouth, but for years, I have been trapped in a never-ending spiral of doctor's appointments, dialysis, and the never-ending fear that eventually the shoe was going to drop. It was going to be the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep. Every sound in the room was a fear that they were calling my name, they needed me. I wasn't home on time. I wasn't at an errand fast enough. I didn't cook dinner the right way. Every day was surrounded by something, and it was always fear surrounded by it. Appointments, times, things, places I needed to be. And on April 1st, that all changed. The freedom that I'd always wanted, the freedom that I had craved, was finally here. The only problem was the best friend that I wanted with me in that freedom was also not here. In this chapter, we're going to talk about the year that my sister and I went running. A little bit about me. I am a type of person that needs reassurance. Okay. I need praise, reassurance, confirmation. I hate making decisions on my own. And when I do make the decisions, I need someone to tell me that it was a good decision or I start spiraling. That was no different in my everyday life. The beginning of the year, Dad and I had spent time deciding what to decorate. I had always kept in mind in the 14 months that I was keeping him alive to keep the house as pleasant and as clean as possible. To have him come home to a peaceful space, to have him grieve in a peaceful space, to have him have pain in a peaceful space, wherever we can make it happy. So every holiday we planned, I decorated every holiday. I decorated the couch, the living room, the dining room, all those kinds of things, but we did it together. So at the beginning of the year, we were planning what we were going to put out for summer. You know, we weren't really interested in doing 4th of July decorations because that's only going to be one little happenstance, and we weren't really interested in any of that. And I definitely wanted to decorate for football season, and I talked all of these things out with him in great detail, whether he wanted to listen or not. And we had landed on a summer theme of lemons and limes. The living room, the dining room is going to have lemons and limes. He went with me to shop. We got all the decor. He agreed. He thinks it would be bright and sunny. I agreed. I thought it was bright and sunny. He also thought it was really cool because that was what a friend of his was into. So lemons and limes was the vibe. Okay. I got like a cheesy pillowcase or something about easy peasy, life is squeezy or something weird. Dad passed on before I put out those decorations. So midnight on April 1st, I decorated the house. It was the day his funeral was going to be. It was before the funeral. I could not sleep. I was miserable in the house. I had to be at the house because I needed to get a few things. So I decorated it in all the lemon and lime things. I finished decorating. I took pictures. And then I stood in front of the lemon rug and cried. I was not supposed to be looking at this by myself, nor was I supposed to be saving the pictures for myself. He was supposed to be there to tell me that it was a good decision and that it did brighten up the house and that it did bring him some sense of joy. He was supposed to walk in and enjoy those lemons, but he wasn't. At all. That wasn't going to happen. Even if I stood there and cried for a long time, it wasn't going to change my circumstance. And so that was kind of the beginning of realizing I needed to run from these feelings. This was not okay. I'm being too emotional. We're not criers. We're not supposed to be crying. We don't cry. We don't show our emotions. What are we talking about? Now, I will tell you that since all this trauma, I cry all the time. I cry today, I cry in this podcast, I cry in my lives. It's changed me. I'm no longer so prideful about my heritage of being completely stove up because homegirl will cry. Immediately after the funeral, my sister and I packed the car, got a plan together, and started traveling, like immediately. The day after the funeral, we were already in Mississippi. We decided to take a journey on some place that I've always wanted to go, Waco, Texas. Okay, shout out to Magnolia Silos. Yes, I'm one of those people. Shocker. I'd always wanted to go there and see them. The silos, the cool store, the little breakfast place, the college there, the whole nine. So why not bury my best friend and get in the car for a 14-hour drive? Of course that's the thing to do. What? We can't go to the house. Every destination carried the same question though. Maybe this place will make me feel better. That was really the goal, is finding a place where I could just not feel reality and live in the happy joy moment. So we took our trip. Mississippi, New Orleans. Now I'll say I wasn't a fan of New Orleans. Houston, we got to see Joel Osteen's church. The silos. We spent time in Waco. Went to SeaWorld in San Antonio. Every little place that we went carried a problem with it though. It was new. It was exciting. Absolutely great. But I don't know about you. When you go to new places and exciting adventures, who do you like to share that with? Now, let's say you're married. I would assume in a decent marriage that at the end of the night when you settle in your hotel, you're going to make that phone call to your spouse because he or she is your best friend. And you're going to tell them, this is where we went today. This is what we did today. How was your work day? What did you have for lunch? Typical conversations I had with my best friend every day. So although we're running, every night when I settled, I pick up a phone and I don't have that person to call. Dad loved getting the pictures. He loved seeing the new sites. And this is stuff you had been interested in because the things that stood out to me was the architecture, the rust, the piece of land and what they did with it, the possibilities, the bridges we walked over, how the bridges were suspended, all things that only my best friend would have understood. But it was the first trip, so no surprising that I cried every day. And yet we mixed it with joyous moments and memories. We went to the Dr. Pepper factory even. That was pretty cool. If you've never been, you should go give it a try. And then we jumped from that to, in April, going back to Disney for my sister's friend's birthday. Now, something I did not realize in the moment was the last time I had been to Disney before this trip. So we get in the car, still in April, towards the end, a couple weeks past the funeral, go to Disney to celebrate her birthday, and I go to my favorite ride. The Little Mermaid is my favorite ride at Magic Kingdom, by the way, and get on it by myself because they rode together in their own seashell. And when I sit down in the ride, I remember the last time I rode it. And if you've been following, you guessed it right. That would have been Thanksgiving when I took Dad and rode in the seashell with him and took pictures with him because I was so excited to share that experience with him. And here I am running from emotion, sitting in a seashell by myself without him. Grief doesn't let you run. I don't know if you know that. It does not allow you to run from it. When we packed our bags to get on the road for a year of journeys, which we'll talk more about fun experiences, grief packed a bag and loaded itself in the car with me. It said, you think you're gonna go live but baby girl, I'm going with you. And then I filled empty space between travels with activities. One of the first things that stood out to me is I went to a baseball game with my best friend, her husband, my godson, and we went to a baseball game. I think my boyfriend was there too at the time. It was a Suns game. Well, Jumbo Shrimp. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time. We went out there, but it was still fresh. It was like May at this point, and I'm there having a decent time, and it gets to a point in the night where I pick up my phone because I think, oh my gosh, I need to call Dad and let him know when I'm going to be home, make sure he's eaten. And it hit me at the baseball field. Nobody's looking for you. Nobody's expecting you to come home right now. You can sit here and enjoy the whole game. Then go out to dinner with your friends. You don't have to rush home to rub cream on the back or pull out the foot wrap. This sounds awful even telling this out loud, but I'm taking you on a journey that is like, this is the beginning of figuring out who I am. Who am I even? Because for the first time I'm in my 30s. For the first time I can just not rush home and cut off the night. How does that feel? Then we go to Tennessee for Father's Day. And Tennessee is my home away from home. From the time I was 2 years old, well, actually from before I was born, that was my parents' vacation place. They saved up money every year. They made sure we could go to Tennessee. That was Dad's favorite place, Mom's favorite place. We loved it there. That's my home away from home. If you're ever going to Pigeon Fortress or Fairfield or any other, Gatlinburg, let me know. I can give you a lot of tips. I've been going there my entire life, more than once a year most of the time. Mom loved to go during the fall season, and Dad loved to go during the Christmas season, and we loved to go during summer when we were younger. So lots of time spent there. My home away from home for sure. But we go back for the first time for Father's Day in honor of Dad because it was one of his favorite places of all time. And I guess I didn't realize that might be a trigger. It was. Every place reminded me of him. Every moment that I had experienced reminded me of him. And we sat in a massage parlor in a lounge room in a robe, and I wept like a crazy person in a robe in a massage parlor lounge room over a glass of water, might I add, with dim lighting and spa music in the background. I'm sure it was very comfortable for the workers who would walk by and look at me like. One lady did ask, "Are you okay?" It's fine. Just thinking about my dead dad. Happy Father's Day. Every beautiful moment was immediately followed by a moment of grief. What's kind of funny is, and it's not funny, but it is, one thing that stood out to me while I was thinking about these memories and how we were running in so many different directions is that my sister said at the end of the year, "I think you've cried more in this year than all of your tears combined in your whole life." I don't think there was a single day that I didn't cry. Not a single day that I didn't feel like I was falling apart. And nobody knew how deep I was suffering. I wouldn't show people. Definitely wouldn't tell people. And if they asked me, I said I was fine. That's my famous line. If you know me at all, I will always tell you, it's fine. In the process of all of this running and journey, I was rebuilding my home, my physical home. It immediately started. We started painting the walls, changing the floors, building a fireplace because my house felt haunted. And in July of that same year, it was starting to feel like my home rather than a memorial space. Because after the loss, yes, I'm very blessed with a miracle home, by the way, might I add, which I've mentioned before, that was now mine. But every day I walked in and it smelled like hospital, medicine, had 2 recliners in it. The dad would lean in face down every day, had a broken couch. Reminders, memorials of suffering. Yeah, there was happy memories in that house, but the last bit of it, terrible. Was I going to go back every day and try to live in that? Absolutely not. I will give this advice to anyone who has lost a loved one. Remodel your house. Move, clean it out, make it different, make it yours. You cannot mentally survive in the same environment reminding you of what you're missing. One thing we've learned about grief is it rewires your brain. You try to cope because we were never meant to deal with that. One time, my cousin Steve, he had preached a message about this. I think it was him. I'm pretty sure it was him. That talked about how, maybe it wasn't him. I don't know, I'm going to leave this in because it may have been him. But somebody had talked about how God didn't create us to be able to deal with grief. When he created Adam and Eve, he created us with the intent that we would not have to face death. And it was the enemy that brought that in. So even now, through all of the evolving, no matter what you believe, let's say you're a Darwin believer, but even now, through all the evolving that we've made, we are not mentally and physically built to deal with death of a loved one and separation in that way. So our brain rewires, they've done science tests on it. Our memories change, things change to help us cope, to live, to keep going. And so in that, change your house, okay? So I started changing the house. It finally started feeling like mine. And I was so thankful for the ability to do that, especially while I was traveling. Things would get done while I was gone. I'd come home to a new looking place. New floors, yay. New paint, yay. I didn't do any structural changes, but that's all that it needs, okay? It doesn't take a lot. If you're taking that advice, it doesn't take a lot. Paint the walls. Throw out a rocking chair, okay? Throw out a recliner that reminds you of grossness, okay? So that was in July when we were working on my home, and you sit back and you think, wow, already in the first couple months, y'all have traveled a lot, you've done a lot. But something to keep in mind is that there was still Monday through Friday. There were still non-trip days. I still had to work a full-time job and come home to the house. And in those moments, I was still very broken and crying every day and struggling. And I want to say that there was someone who was there in my life quietly helping to hold me together. He sat with me through panic attacks. He sat with me when I cried. He helped remodel the house that felt haunted. He tried to help me make new memories and gave everything he knew to give. And I will always be grateful for that. And I'm not going to mention that person, but they are a listener, so they will know. But I'm so grateful in replaying these memories for, as Charity said in the last episode, who God places in our lives, or maybe who gets placed in our lives by accident, or maybe by even mistake. I didn't have a lot of people because I refused to let people in. And this person was already there. They were there helping hold me together when Mom was falling apart. They were there present to help with Dad, and they were there all that time in between travels when I literally would wake up in the night thinking that I heard someone call for me. Those things don't just immediately quit. The grief doesn't stop. It just doesn't. And I'm so grateful for that person in those moments. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And then we move into August of the year, and I'm trying not to give a boring timeline in this story, so I hope that I have not lost your interest. But we move into August of this year, and I decide I'm going to go vegan or vegetarian. I had been having a lot of health issues and I couldn't understand it. Believe it or not, I literally sat there and said, I don't understand what's going wrong with me. I just don't feel good. I'm tired. My heart's bothering me. It must be food. It definitely couldn't be grief or loss. Heaven forbid. So I went vegetarian for a month. I started cooking again. And then I had to start wearing a heart monitor. So had a heart monitor put on me, hidden under my shirt for a solid month. Because I thought maybe there was something wrong with my heart. And looking back, I think it was. My heart was broken. But I thought there's no way. It's just medical. I had a heart monitor put on. Lots of doctor's appointments. Still nobody knew that was going on. And we fast forward to September. I think it was September. Most of August, the beginning of September, we didn't have travel plans. I know, we had a month that we skipped. And we were devastated that we had a month that we skipped, by the way. But we did. We have a skip month where we didn't travel anywhere. So in that time, I would work my 7 to 4, come home by 4:30 to silence, no one to care for, no one to cook for. And I thought, again, I have no purpose. I don't have children. I don't have a husband. I don't have parents. My phone is not ringing or texting. And it is silent. So in the meantime, I would watch my Bomb Party lives. And I started thinking about joining, and I was like, maybe that would be good because I was needing residual income. I was now on a single income basis, which my father and I were very codependent. I would pay some things, he would pay majority of things, and that's how we lived a decent life. And now it's just me. And all the things that were left behind that nobody thought about, that were also left on my shoulders. So I did need residual income, but most of all, I needed some kind of purpose. And I didn't join Bomb Party because I wanted to sell jewelry. I joined it because I really needed purpose, and I needed people, and I needed laughter, and I needed noise. My God, did I ever need it and didn't know it. I didn't know what was coming at the time. It was October. My birthday was coming around, and in my birthday month, we traveled. We went to Vermont, we went to Boston, and then for my birthday, we went to Arkansas. I know, random. Hot Springs, Arkansas, by the way, if you've ever been there. It's actually super gorgeous. Mountains, lakes, really surprising. I picked it randomly. We went, my sister set it up, and as she mentioned in her interview, I sat at my cake and cried. I cried in the basement of that house. I cried on the balcony of that house. I cried by the pool. I cried everywhere. And when I wasn't crying, I was mean and angry. Because I was in a new place and I really wanted Dad to see it. And I couldn't deal with the fact that he wasn't singing me happy birthday or asking how the cake was or picking on me for getting older or any of those things. And so we did all of those things in October. We had good memories and good times. We had a lot of fall pictures, a lot of fun. And then when I came back from my birthday party, we celebrated my godson's birthday, and then I helped plan that, and my paper just blew away. we did the Halloween thing. I dressed up, and then November came. Now, prior to that was September, and in September we did the ladies retreat, which was really great, but I'll cover that on the next episode, because the next episode we're going to talk about my church grief, and that's going to be interesting as well. But we did a ladies retreat in September. October, the birthday thing. November, we did a fall festival, and then I went back to Tennessee. And Christmas was my favorite holiday. It always has been. It was Mom's favorite holiday too, so we would get really into it together. That was one of the holidays where she and I would really bond, because we loved the Christmas store. We loved decorating. We wanted to change the color theme all the time. And even when I was planning Dad's last Christmas, I was picking the color theme that he loved. And then I was like getting boxes to box it up when I was taking it down. And he's like, I don't know why you're putting it in boxes. You should just throw it away because you're going to change your mind next year. And I was like, no, I'm going to keep it. And he's like, well, every year you want a different color theme. I don't know why we're wasting time on boxes. He's not wrong. He wasn't wrong. So I went to Tennessee for November. We did our 5K, our sister 5K that year. Actually, I don't think we actually did the 5K, but that's what we went for. So we went back, saw the Christmas lights, all those cool things. And then when I came back, that quiet person that held me when no one else knew about my breaking had put a fresh wreath on the door, put up Christmas decor. So when I came home, it was like Christmas time at my house. I was so excited. It brought joy in that moment. Now, of course, every happy moment was dealt with grief, because I was like, yay! And then, oh, my people are missing. And it looked like it was going to be okay, you know, like Christmas might be okay after all. 2 weeks before Christmas, that changed. A situation happened, and the person that was there for me, that put that fresh Christmas wreath on the door, had to leave. And they left. And that was horrible. Absolutely horrible. So my sister and I ran. We went to New York for Christmas, and that was literally the best thing ever. I actually fell in love with the city that year. Christmas in New York, there is nothing like it. Even if you don't like New York, Christmas in New York, totally different. We went, we saw the Rockettes, we saw Macy's, we saw all the Christmas lights. We went to the different parks, we got s'mores, we went to the Empire State Building. I got some new sunglasses. It was great. We saw snow. I made my first snowman. I fell in love with New York and Christmas. I want to go back. And then we came back, and I did the thing that I normally do. Let's keep tradition. So Christmas Eve, I invited my family over, the people that I called my family, the people that I still call my adopted family, the people that I feel the closest to. These people are the people that I am the only people that I allow myself to be authentic around 100%. I'm not guarded. I love them so much. My Christmas Eve family, you know who you are. If you're even listening, they may not even be supporting this podcast. But I prepared a birthday party for one of them, and they came over, and I had presents, and we did Christmas, and we laughed, and I got to laugh and be me. But then they had to leave. And I still cry when they leave me. I don't get to see them very often. And the last time I got to see them for my sister's graduation, when we left, I cried in the car pretty hard. Christmas Day came, and it did not feel like Christmas at all. So my sister came over. I cooked. We did the Christmas present exchange, and I'm pretty sure I cried that day too, because what's new? That's what I was gonna do every day. That was my new personality, the person who cried every day. And maybe that's still true because I've cried already in this podcast. But we decided to keep running, and we spent New Year's in Carillon, Seaside, and Palm Beach. West Palm Beach? Palm Beach. Anyways, Carillon and Seaside, Alice Beach. Fabulous. I'm definitely one of those people as well. I just need to be rich. And we had a really good time. We did. We rang in the new year together. And that was when my sister said, next year, we're not going to cry every day. And I was like, I don't know, maybe. Maybe we won't. I spent an entire year trying to outrun grief. I remodeled my house. I remodeled my routines. I traveled thousands of miles and saw lots of new things and fun adventures. I laughed, I cried daily. I kept moving, but eventually I realized grief had followed me everywhere. Not because I wanted it to ruin my beautiful life, but because the person I loved was supposed to be in every one of those moments. One thing I learned about the entire experience is that I wasn't running to something. I was running away from stillness. And sometimes the hardest part about healing is just being still. And I have to be completely honest, I doubt I am still willing to just be still. I get told that a lot. I don't know how to relax. I don't know how to sit still. I don't know how to just be. Because my mind runs wild. My heart aches. The grief is still there. Thoughts, positions, places remind me always. And one time somebody told me, stop remembering sadness, remember happiness. And I do. But it's kind of wrapped together. I've been so blessed to have so many happy memories, traveled, experienced so many things that I know not a lot of people have had. I'm blessed to sit here and say I grieve the loss of my parents, because there's people who have parents that they don't grieve. To sit here and say they taught me something huge, that they not only raised me, they raised every person that came into their life and they impacted them. And I'm so blessed. And there's so many happy thoughts and happy memories wrapped around that. But at the end of the day, I'm the girl that was left here trying to figure out who I am. And in the midst of that, you would think that, okay, you've lost your mom, you've lost your dad, you've lost your boyfriend, and that is enough grief for 1 year. Maybe that's the worst. But come to find out, the last hit, the final log on the fire of the burning house, is when you lose the place that feels like home. Next week, we will talk about just that. When I lost the last of my identity.